Hey everyone, this is Randy from BibleBuyingGuide.com. Today I'm taking a look at the NASB 2020 edition of the Large Print Compact Bible from the Lockman Foundation. And this one is the Prime Edition. So they've just released their Prime Editions. This one is brown goatskin leather, and it is made in Korea. And in my opinion, these are better quality than the premium editions made in China. And I would like publishers to take notice. You can create some good quality Bibles in Korea. So let's take a look. So brown goatskin leather. It looks and feels elegant. Has a pebbly grain. Nothing printed on the front. Perimeter stitching. 5 raised hubs with gold printing on the spine. 3/8 inch ribbons, 2 of them in dark brown and black. And they're double-sided. These are double-sided satin. And then we have a cowhide liner, edge-lined with gilt line. And this one, unlike the other one, unlike the genuine leather version of this Bible, this one stays open easy. Has the vinyl page that glues into the tab. The tab is not too thick, not too stiff. And then we have in the front, presentation page, marriages, wife's family tree, husband's family tree, births, deaths, and occasions to remember. The paper is 31 GSM, and it's a white color. The original that I reviewed was had a blue tint. I didn't like the blue tint so much, but it wasn't as dark as the other blue tints that I'd seen. But it's more noticeable when you compare it to this one. So there's our paper. Paper is easy enough to turn. Little bit of a smooth texture to it, so it's not rough, but it's not overly smooth. It's not sticky. It doesn't stick to itself. It's easy to turn. Could be a touch more opaque, but it's not too bad. This Bible's easy to hold and carry and read. 9-point font, single column, paragraph edition. Verse numbers are bold, so they stand out. They're large too. Easy to find. I like this. These are easy to find at a glance. Footnotes in the footer, separated by a line. It doesn't have a lot of space around the text, so not a lot of margin space, especially on the outside and the top. It does have enough inner margin space to bring the text up out of the gutter. About 14 words per line. Supplied words are in italics. Section headings are bold in italics. Poetry looks great. I like the look of poetry in this. Looks really good. There's our art gilt. That's a dark red. I like that. This stays open well. No trouble at all. And it'll stay open there where the original tried to close on you. Then in the first few pages of Genesis, no trouble. No trouble. It won't fight against you too bad. No problem at all. So this one you can hold and read with no issues. This is a good edition. I like this a lot. And there's the poetry. Poetry is divided in good places. It's done well. Of course, single column with 14 words per line, you have that extra space for poetry. The show through, it could be a little bit less show through, but it's not bad. Not bad at all. It's that 31 GSM paper. It doesn't have an extra pigment to reduce that show through. So it's typical of 31 GSM without the extra pigment. Black letter, and then Old Testament quotes are in all caps, so they stand out. You can tell at a glance. But it doesn't tell you in the footnotes where it's a reference from. The text is dark and consistent, about a medium in darkness, I think. Not very dark, but I'd say a medium in darkness. But it is consistent all the way through. I had no issues reading it. I read from this for a week, and I'm reading the 2020 this year. And so this has been my reader for a week. It's not been bad at all. I've enjoyed it. I like a Bible I can hold in one hand, and this one's easy to hold. It does not include indentation or anything like that for letters, but they do have section headings. It doesn't tell what the typeface is. It is printed with line matching. The show-through is only noticeable in the poetic settings, and you can tell there it's line matched. In the back are book introductions, a short paragraph for each book of the Bible. So they place them back here instead of within the text. I don't mind that one bit. That's fine. Get it out of the way, but they're there if you want them. And then this one has added maps, unlike the Genuine Leather Edition. So we have the biblical world of the patriarchs, Exodus, route and conquest of Canaan, 12 tribes of Israel. This is on the thick, glossy paper. Divided kingdoms of Israel and Judah, the Herodian kingdom in the time of Christ, Old Testament Jerusalem, New Testament Jerusalem. So that's really two maps. And then the ministry of Jesus and the missionary journeys of Paul. Lots of annotations. It does not include an index. It does have a lot of annotations, and they cover routes and battle sites and cities and rivers and distance. It does not include topography, but it does have ancient sites and things like that. They're easy to read. Lots of good information there. Goatskin, genuine leather. I love the brown. It's elegant. It's flexible. Doesn't feel stiff, but it's not floppy flexible. I can hold it open with one hand with no trouble. Easy enough to handle. Doesn't fight me. I like that. I like that a lot. So let's look at the size and weight. 5 1/4, 7 3/4, and 1 1/4. And it weighs 1 pound, 7.3 ounces. And of course, the first Bible I'd like to compare to is the original in black genuine leather. Same size. Now, the original has a rounded spine, which I do prefer. Gold gilt edges. The leather is genuine leather, but it's very stiff. Paste down liner, and it just doesn't want to stay open well. I was hoping that would break in. This one was made in China, and there's that bluish tinted paper. Other than the blue tint, it's pretty decent paper. And then smaller ribbons, not quite as wide. Here's how they compare. This one does not include the maps, but it does have everything else. It's still a bit stiff. I was hoping that would not be so stiff. Here is how they compare. They are the same text, exactly. The original actually might be a touch darker, but this one is dark enough in my opinion. Between the two, there's no comparison in quality. The goatskin is a lot better. Better paper, better leather, better ribbons. It's just a nicer Bible. Next is the NASB Clarion from Cambridge. Now this one is calfskin, but I just want to show you the colors because they're both brown and the size. The Clarion is thicker and a similar footprint, almost the same footprint, and a very similar layout, but of course the Clarion has references on the outside, both having the single column. The Clarion has more expensive paper, and it does feel a little bit more elegant in my opinion. Here's how they compare. The font on the Clarion is a little larger, slightly larger. Now this one has maps and a concordance. And another is the Scholar NASB. This one is also brown, and it is also calfskin. Has the same paper as the Clarion, which is that 28 GSM Endopaque, some of my favorite paper. About the same size, pretty close, a little thicker, not a lot of difference. Double column layout compared to the single column. And then references in the footer. Here's how they compare. Now, this one and the Clarion are both made in the Netherlands, so we're talking about a different price category. Now, this one also has maps in the back, but unlike the Clarion, it does not include the concordance. The larger version does, but not the small one. And then finally, the large print ultra thin NASB Prime Edition, just because I know some people are going to ask, and the review is coming soon for this. But just to give an idea of what they look like, big difference in the footprint, about the same thickness, same materials, leather's the same, just a different layout, and a lot larger print. And here's how they compare. The review for this one is coming soon. So that's my quick look at the large print compact NASB 2020 edition, Prime Edition. I like the Prime Edition. I think Lockman has done a good job with this design, and I think that Korean printing has done well too. I like this a lot. My only complaint might be the lack of space in the margins. It does feel a little tight. But I would prefer to have the space in the inner margin and less space in the outer margin in order to bring the text out into the flatter part of the page. It does still bend a little bit into the gutter, and so there have been a few times when I'm reading it that I end up having to trace my finger across the page to know where I was. Usually if I'm holding it in my hand, I'm holding it flat so that I haven't noticed that. But when I lay it on the table, that's when I notice that. But I don't usually read it that way. I usually read it holding in my hand. I don't have a lot of complaints about this Bible at all. I'm glad they included the maps. I always like maps because I like to see where a location is. So I think this is a highly readable Bible. It's easy to carry. The quality is excellent. So if it's between this one and this one, go with the goatskin. Not just because it's goatskin, but because it is a better leather. It is easier to handle. The paper's better. It's just a better Bible all the way around. So Lockman did provide this Bible in exchange for an honest review. I'll place some links in the notes where you can make a purchase if you're interested. Also a link to BibleBuyingGuide.com to the written review, where I always go into more detail and show lots of photos. If you have any questions, let me know. Thanks for watching.